Patz?
Ready.
Okay, hit it.
Reporting live from the beating heart of Hillbilly Country.
Cable actuated and opinionated. This is Alt Bike Now. I'm your host, Ronnie Romance, and sitting in for Arya here today is
Patz.
That's right, Patz. If none of you have heard of Patz, I suggest you look up P-A-T-Z on the internet and you will see his face. Patz, of course, is the other half of ultradynamico and a 25-year-old, not necessarily in age, but we have been friends for 25 years. We've seen a lot together, and we also, I think we should give a shout out right now to Fun Run Robbie.
Yes.
If he's out there, because Patz and I, 20 years ago, if you want to fill our listeners in, what did we do?
Well, we started a podcast together.
Yeah.
And it lasted about 10 episodes.
Not bad.
Not bad. You had moved in the middle of that. So the fact that we continued it through after about 7 episodes when you moved back to New England, I thought that was quite a feat in itself. We got 3 remote episodes.
That's right. I recall that now. Yeah. I remember recording, and that was a lot of technology for 2020.
Sure was.
2010.
We were, I believe, the second or third cycling related podcast on Apple Podcast platform.
Yeah. And it was called the Romance Tradition Ultra Podcast. And it was about the nuances of European pro cycling.
That's right.
What we liked and what we didn't like. I think we had a lot of anti-Lance content on there.
We sure did. When we started broadcasting, we were in Austin, Texas. So very cutting edge.
Very edgy. Imagine if we had run into him in a dark alleyway.
Oh my gosh.
We would have been jabbed with a needle.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I think our listeners should also know that our theme song, the intro to this podcast, is a carryover from Romance Tradition Ultra Podcast. And if you've been wondering, all 15 or whatever episodes in we are here, our theme song is written by the Italian power metal band Secret Sphere.
That's right.
The track More Than Simple.
That's right.
Not simple emotions.
And do you have the Can't Be Free Hub?
I don't. I need to re-record that because our pod used to start with a Can't Be Free hub, which was pretty unique for the time. I feel like there's a lot of loud hubs nowadays, but the Can't Be Free hub had such a nice click to it, and it was unmistakable what it was.
That's true.
Now people would be like, "Oh, sweet, Chris King," or I guess Chris King's always been loud too, but you know what I mean. It's just a different time.
It sure is. I'm still on Campy, though.
Still on Campy. Well, let me bring up the show notes today because, we are in a park in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not Oregon. And we just came up we had our coffee. We had a coffee, I think, aptly at adjacent to the old Rafa USA headquarters.
That's right. We sure did. We had a nice coffee.
What did you had a cappuccino?
Cappuccino with whole milk every time.
Breakfast sandwich.
It's before noon here, so you're good to go on that. A little breakfast sandwich.
I had a flat white oat with a croissant.
Yeah.
Croissant? Mid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't win them all. But
you can't win them all. Coffee was good.
Yeah.
Coffee was good.
And we pedaled up the hill. We're at the base of Forest Park, which is one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the main reason I moved to Portland.
And how long did you move to Portland ago?
2010. 16 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. So our podcast would have been recorded it was like 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2006.
Wow. What trendsetters.
I know.
And then you moved to Portland in 2010. Again, what a trendsetter. You grew up in Austin, born and raised.
Born and raised
what a
in
trendsetter.
Austin, South Austin, right above Zilker Park, Barton Springs. Yeah, that's right. Grew up there, loved it for a long time. And then about 2000, I was pretty ready to get out of there. And
Yeah. So for 10 years, You were a bicycle messenger in Austin?
Yeah, 10 years, off and on, but 10 years total span. And
Not with Jimmy John's.
no, I never delivered a Jimmy John's.
We're talking all court filings all the time.
Court filings, architectural plans.
It's the old days.
A lot of the good stuff, right? Where you really felt really important.
Yeah, when I showed up to Austin in 2004, 2005, I had a job at Gold's Gym.
That's right.
And in downtown Austin, and about 2 weeks in, they just had me cold calling people trying to sell memberships. Yeah. And whenever somebody, I wore real tight clothing, and so the owners were real beefy. And whenever somebody who didn't look straight came in, they sent me down there to go talk to them to try to sell them a membership.
Yeah, and that was one of the only times in my life that I've had a gym membership, which I got through you.
Right.
We would lift.
I get catcalled at. It was it was a real moment in time. And so about 2-3 weeks in, I would see you, running your ASAP round trips. There was only about 10 messengers in Austin left at that point, right?
There was probably 15 or so.
15, but it was a time when messengering was, if you were a cyclist, like an alt cyclist, that was considered a dream job. That was what you were aspiring to.
It actually was a great job.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about it, but for the alt cyclist, I don't think at that time it
was pinnacle.
It was pinnacle. There's really nothing else. Like, what are you going beyond that?
It was so much fun.
Yeah. And so I,
and in Austin, it was pretty chill. It was set up by messengers from the East Coast who had moved down there for music, for fun, whatever. And so they set it up right, and we made lots of money. We worked pretty steady. It was pretty steady work, but they limited this. They kind of capped the size of how many messengers were down there. It was a pretty difficult job to get. And so we all made really good money, and we rode hard, but it was enough. You were rested enough that you could even ride in the evenings for fun, which was good, because I had just gotten into road cycling when we met. And I mean, just barely gotten into road cycling. You and I, we can be frank here. You took me into a dressing room and personally fit me into a pair of my first
pair of bib shorts.
Yeah.
I was also present the first time you shaved your legs, and so was my father.
Your father was there.
Yeah,
Captain Pete was yelling at me and telling me, "What are you doing?" and just shaking his head.
Yeah, my father, who had seen his son start shaving his legs at the age of 15, just passing on the favor.
He was appalled and disgusted. But yeah, I had gotten into road cycling, had a road bike that was probably 2 sizes too small for me. And you were on a beautiful blue Ibis.
Yeah.
And we met at a little messenger run bike race.
Yeah. And
kind of hit it off. We had some mutual friends, and then just started riding after that race, like every evening on the road.
Yeah. No, that was really cool. And and so after that, so as I was getting to know you and figuring out what the heck I was going to do in Austin with the rest of my life after getting out of college with a degree that meant nothing, I was like, well, I want to start an energy bar company.
That's right.
And you were like, energy bar company? What about Gold's Gym?
Yeah, I was blown away that somebody would just leave their great job in a field that you had studied for.
Yeah.
But when you did tell me that you confessed that you had just been cold calling the phone book, I was appalled for you, and I was happy that you left.
That was seriously what I was doing. It's funny to think back on that. That is, that was what I was doing,
Yeah, so the energy bar company idea I thought was a brilliant idea, and of course my main thought immediately was, well, we can sponsor our cycling team.
We need a cycling team.
That can be the main title sponsor.
Right. And so the energy bar company was called Woolly Mammoth.
That's right.
And well, it was the quirk here was the idea was to, raise money so that they could clone. They found DNA in the Siberian tundra. And so we wanted them to clone that and bring the woolly mammoths back. So we were going to donate, like 0.0000005% of our profits and proceeds would go to bringing back the woolly mammoth. And so we thought that was pretty, everyone's trying to stop extinction. Well, we're trying to bring back animals from extinction. So, virtue signaling there.
Absolutely. And the bars were really good. You started making them, bringing them on our rides, our nightly rides, and they were you were ahead of your time as far as it was a very simple formula, 4 or 5 ingredients, mainly date-based. But you had a really good lemon, chia, date. Man, that was a good bar. I remember.
And each bar was named the Romance Bar, the Tradition Bar, and the Ultra Bar.
That's right.
And the Romance Bar was a sensual energy bar. It was it had maca root in it. It had ashwagandha. It had
it was designed to arouse you while you
fig. It was cherry, chocolate. It was meant for, sensual energy, you don't want to bonk midway into a tantric session.
No, absolutely not.
So that's what that was. So, we had these ideas. Patrick and I are not formally trained in product design or product release or business, whatsoever. But we're idea men.
Yeah.
And so we got that cycling team going, I'll tell you that much. And the cycling team far outlasted the energy bar idea. And we based our cycling team on essentially, aside from the cheeky name, Woolly Mammoth, everything was pure Euro. And we just wanted our all white kits, matching shoe covers, all of the group rides in Austin at this time. I'm sure it's still like this in many ways. Rafa and like Paul Normal and MAP and things, these kit brands didn't exist yet. It was all performance.
I'm going to interrupt you because you interrupt Arya all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and take control here and say to the audience that 2005 Austin was just a giant field of Lance fanboys wearing black socks,
ankle socks,
horrible black kit. There was just lots of
contrast stitching.
It was really, really hard to ride in a group there.
Yeah, and you were on full display. Austin in 2004, 2005. I mean, this was really arguably the road cycling epicenter of our country because of Lance.
Yes.
And so you were on full display on every ride.
Yeah.
If you didn't look right, if you didn't have that look, you're wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and it was, guys, it was drab. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
people wouldn't hesitate to wear like a primal wear, like skeleton jersey, and that would be like their expression of like, oh, I'm a little cool, I'm a little crazy. Yeah.
So we started by making our own kit, of course.
Silk screening, white stuff. Yeah.
Dirty white bibs we had ordered from eBay in Italy, which was new at the time. And then, of course, we talked a kit company into producing white chamois and jersey for us. So,
one of the first customers of Champion Systems.
That's right.
So we got a nice look together, well curated, and we got we gathered a team of bicycle messengers really to become our team. So I think we were kind of like a real. It's funny because I think where this podcast really all comes together, where we do talk a little bit about pro cycling and, all forms of holistic cycling and things like that. Well, we started off as, chasing the pros. Like we wanted to be pro. We wanted to have that Euro look. But in this country, that was an alternative take. I mean, this country was coming up with its own identity of American pro road racing, and it was heinous.
It was,
you know, and so we were kind of the alternative to that, being more like the Euros. So whatever that is now, that's where we are. But that's our background, you know, folks. So this team, you know, it's still around.
You know, and the last thing I'll say to wrap up this little part is I look back on that period as being really important for you and I, as far as we were pretty serious with the team for a minute. Not serious, you know, it was a joke team, but we treated it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
You know, we trained and we raced and we, you know, put on events and bike races and held team dinners. We did team photo shoots, that type of thing. So it was, in a weird way, good training for doing a business together.
Right. Of course, the little videos, just you know, our little sense of humor came out in every aspect of this project, the Woolly Mammoth project. And yeah, we were coming up with, you know, designing kits and things like that, just designing product for ourselves. And yeah, you know, you're right. That really kind of, would also say that kind of elevated us in the alt road world, where
definitely
a lot of people coming up. Really, the cyclocross scene was really big in New England and Portland and things like that. And people like Jeremy Dunn with what was Embrocation Journal, Embrocation Magazine?
Embrocation Cycling Journal, yep. So when I moved to Portland, when I first visited Portland, Rafa had done one event in Austin, and I had somehow been connected with a couple of the folks there. Rafa at the time had just come to the U.S., and there was the entire U.S. staff was 3 people.
I should also say the Rafa Continental team at this point was, after Bicycle Messenger stuff had come and gone, I felt like the Rafa Continental team was the pinnacle of alt bike at that point.
Yeah, kind of was. You know? I mean, I think fixie culture was really big at that moment, was sort of dominating mainstream.
I would say fixie culture was getting a lot of people into the sport, a lot of young people into the sport because of how accessible it all was. But if you wanted to take that to the next level, and you've adopted road principles, but also like the historical context of riding your road bike off-road, that's kind of what became cool, so to speak.
Yes.
And really, actually, in my opinion, completely made the brand Rafa.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It was that core group of folks that first, 3 to 5 folks that were in the office here, so that really set the tone for that brand and help it grow to what it became before it changed ownership. But I mean, I think that initial cycling team that we created together, kind of rumor spread, and by the time I moved to Portland, people had heard about it a little bit, and I found a little bit of a ride community right away, which was nice. And yeah, I was just grateful to be up here, honestly. Felt like being surrounded by like-minded folks, and the riding here is my favorite riding.
So while you're doing this big move to Portland, I am having my identity crisis with what am I not riding a road bike anymore. I'm not clipping in. I'm not putting on the chamois. I've overdone it. I've gone too far in one direction and burnt myself out. I got to find riding again. What's it going to be? And so you're going to hear some hikers walk by now. I'm sure they don't mind being on air. Hi. It's part of the tree. Yeah. So, I was kind of out, doing my thing from, and that is really what I became known for. In the meantime, Patrick was further working on his derangements. Just climbing all the hills out here. Patrick never stopped putting in the hard miles. So
that's right.
And so I'm putting in the easy miles. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, doing well, thanks. Want to say hi to our podcast?
Hi, podcast.
Hey.
Thank you. You too.
Nice.
It's very nice. I mean, it's hard not to be nice when you live in a city with such amenities.
It is a gorgeous place to live.
So
don't move here, though. It rains.
On a day like this.
It rains 11 months out of the year.
Wintertime, no thank you. Yeah, so, Patrick and I, we've always given each other a hard time. And so Patrick, back and forth, it's just like, what are you doing with these picnic boys?
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
right.
what are you doing furthering your derangement? No one's gonna want to ride with you out there. You're just going too hard.
That's true. I've lost a lot of friends over the
years. And so, I'm going to fast forward us until about 2017, 2018. You and I, we have always been into tires.
Right.
All throughout our road career, tires was always, namely tubulars. Are you training on? Patrick trains on tubulars back in the day.
I did, yes.
That's how dedicated he was to riding like a pro.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I can remember hand sewing, puncturing on Texas roads where there's glass everywhere, and hand sewing them after patching the tube in there, and being really into having like a pretty cheap used CAD 4 or 5, whatever it was, but having the nicest wheel set with the nicest tubular tires I could glue onto that wheel set. That was, and of course, a nice campy group set. That was really important to me.
Yeah, and it still is in many regards. So we tire curious, always talking about tires, always have known that the tires are where the bike really comes together. That's what makes the difference. And so, I was getting really into 650B at that time, probably like, in the late aughts, and with JP Weigel living near me in Connecticut, I was working on my father's boat in Connecticut, so I would be there every summer and touring every winter. And we both like riding off road. We like the grav.
We always have. Yeah.
We have always liked the grav, back when we used to call it dirt. And so we were looking at the market, what was available, and we just couldn't find the right tire for ourselves. We've always just kind of made the stuff that we want, going back to our first white kits. Which
let's clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
So at the time when we started working on the tire project, you and I both share a desire to not ride in deep mud. We're not mudders.
Right. Yeah, right? I'll walk around the mud.
Yeah, and I mean, if I get stuck on a ride, I'll ride through it.
Mud in the drivetrain?
But I'm not after a mud tire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there were some 650B tires on the market. A lot of them were Brevet. They were a little undersized for what we like to do.
Right.
And the ones that were the right size were kind of more designed for mud use, or they were purported to be designed for mud use. And we wanted a dry condition tire, anyway, like a high volume dry conditions.
Without huge logos on the sidewall.
We wanted a very minimal branding.
Stylish.
We
wanted, I think without stating the intentions, I think the way we approached it immediately was from a fashion standpoint. Fashion and function. How do we find that together?
Ride
feel.
And aesthetic.
And so that ride feel is super important to us. It's the sensations. I just keep calling them sensations because it's a different word than vibes.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for choosing that.
You have to try and find it, So that's what one morning I woke up in Troy's, who's our only employee now, woke up in Troy's guest bedroom and sent an email to Pan Racer from my phone. And they got back to us, to my surprise, within a day, and the project was up and running. So, back in those days, things moved a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And I think a year later, we had our tire launch right here in Portland, Oregon.
A little over a year later.
Yeah. And so we launched with the Rosé 650B by 47.99.
That's true. Yeah.
And the Cava of the same size.
Yeah.
With they were both race casing, and one was black tread and one was gray tread.
That's right.
And, I'm glad that we did that gray tread, because that's really, I believe, what, really made our brand visible in those early years, especially. And it was also something that we wanted in particular, because, if you want to make a silver bike without any black components, you can't have black on the tires.
Yeah, that's true.
So I always thought it was really nice to be able to build a bike without any black on it. So that's really what
it was one of my favorite colors.
Right, and it matches everything.
Matches everything, exactly.
And so that's how it all began. And we just wanted to do 2 treads in the beginning, or those 2 tires. You never know how well things are going to do. We're putting in the minimum order, and just kind of see how it works. I think we had caps right away too from Apis.
That's right.
And so, we were just kind of doing this little experiment, and to our surprise, it really, without any marketing push, it took off.
Yep.
And
I'm grateful for that, because it's been fun.
Been so fun.
And we just keep, I think the main thing is we try to stay true to the products that we want to see and that we want to ride ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's just been fun to see those come into the world.
Right.
And then obviously we've been able to take lots of trips together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should mention that the original purpose of the company also was to have a company card that we can get fancy coffees on.
Yeah, in foreign places.
Yes. And if we made a little money on the side, that would be great.
Yeah.
But really a cool way to kind of like really, ensure that you and I stay in contact, even though we live on opposite sides of the country.
Yep.
And a great way to further the relationship, because, you and I, we've always worked well together. And
right. Let's get back to my derangement.
Okay. We're going to talk about your derangement later in the episode.
I just wanted to say.
All right.
Let's skip to that section, because it's really important. It's at the heart of everything. When we lived across the country from one another, let's talk about the GC of life.
Boy.
Yeah. It's important. So, you can't ride with a good friend anymore every day like you used to. Mm-hmm. We still want to check in. You still want to see ride photos and hear about rides and kind of just keep tabs on their general fitness level. I
want to preface this by saying the GC of life is something that I came up with after I buried you in the Barkhamsted Road Race in 2026.
You did.
No, sorry, 2006.
Yeah.
A half an hour I put on you.
Can we talk about what happened?
But that was it. That was all I ever had.
Can we talk about the descent that my shoulder popped out of socket and I was in the middle of the pack descending, and I was in excruciating pain the rest of that race. So I believe you put 30 minutes into me.
A GC is a GC. Anyway.
I finished that road race. That was my only road event in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But we've been competitive with one another for a long time in a good way. But the GC of life is something that we talk about the end of every year.
Mm-hmm. We look at
some stats,
our numbers.
We compare, and we talk about our favorite rides of the year, and we do a little bragging to one another.
Yeah, well, let's say Patrick does a lot of climbing.
It's hard
to brag. It's hard to be the bragger if you don't have that stat on lock.
Yeah, that's true.
I concede. Yeah.
You've got me beat with hours, but I think that's because a lot of those rides are picnicking rides.
Well, my average speed is 10 to 12 miles an hour.
Yeah. Well, I don't have time for that pace.
I stop a lot. I don't have children.
You don't. Yeah. Although you got 2 ducks.
I got 2 ducks. Yeah, I got to get home for the ducks. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a little background on Patz. Here we are 7 years into this project, and no signs of slowing yet. So that's ultradynamico for you folks, if you ever wondered. So Patz, let's stay true to the pod format here.
Let's do it.
We're gonna just get into some quick news. Of course, Made Bike Show just happened.
It did
over the weekend. That's why I'm here.
Yep.
And we also have the Vuelta España.
That's true.
Vuelta España.
That's true, yeah.
So, really, we're not going to talk much about the racing of the Vuelta right
Just
now.
started.
It just started. Poggi is of course, going to win it. So,
Well, he's already in the red.
He's already
We'll
in the
say
red.
that.
And so, but there's been some drama already, and most notably with I think she's a Spanish influencer who has 6 million followers that the Vuelta hired on to kind of appeal more to a younger crowd.
That's right.
And gave her a press pass, and her whole shtick is she approaches people and hits on them, and then reveals that it's the joke later on or something. And so the Vuelta hired this person on to do this with these poor road racers who have
their brains are
fried.
fracked.
They have not been hit on in decades.
Absolutely, they wouldn't know
ever. They wouldn't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and they're just stepping off the bike, and you've got this woman sticking a microphone in their face and telling them that they're why are they hyperventilating?
Yeah, she did that to Poggi, like from afar, like so that there was no way, and not that English is like his fourth language.
He was like, "What?"
He was like, "I'm sorry, what?" And she comes out, "Why are you hyperventilating whenever I'm around you?" And he's like, "I am a cyclist. I breathe." And then apparently later on, as the drama continues, Poggi UAE had asked her to leave, not her, but the Vuelta organizers to have her leave. And so it turned into kind of like it turned into kind of like a Poggi being accused of not welcoming women reporters and things like that. So we're going to get Nam's take on this when we talk next.
I haven't done any. I saw one little clip of it.
Yeah, we'll get Arya's take on this when we come back, because it was just a funny thing. So again, I think the narrative is no one's blaming the influencer. It's just the Vuelta had a funny way of. It's just a funny hire. I'm not sure.
I'm sure somebody just looked at the follower count.
Right.
And just said, send her a ticket, get her to a finish line, give her a press pass.
I mean, really, these guys have never been hit on before. Yeah. So maybe it could have been like an easy dunk, on a lot of them. But don't go after Poggi. He's been hit on a few times.
Oh, I'm sure.
So after that, the next day, which was yesterday, the first ride into the mountain, first like Cat 1 climb.
Stage 3,
Stage 3. We were looking for some fireworks, but we got the opposite of fireworks. We got ice falling from the sky.
Yep.
Right before the finishing climb.
If you've been in the mountains, that happens from time to time, but that looked pretty harsh.
Oh my goodness. They were just about to descend, which would have been, can you imagine? I had heard, that the team cars descending down in hailstorms before, just all the carbon frames getting cracked and stuff by the marbles hitting them.
I saw some clips or some pictures posted afterwards. The riders posted themselves of just welts all over their their arms.
Poor people. Their
bones are so thin and fragile.
God, they're at the edge of humanity.
Yeah, and you're gonna just stick them in that.
And so, the scene at the top, the picture kept coming in and out, but it was all of these emaciated riders just hiding, like holding one another. It's kind of cute, just like trying to protect one another and keep each other's body warmth and things like that, while they all just kind of tried to get under anything they could,
like a bunch of lost little chicks.
Yes, it's true. It's
hovering together for shelter. They didn't even make it to the finish, to the top. They made it. Yeah, they called it.
You're saying you don't think you've watched a lot of pro racing. You don't think you've ever seen that before, huh?
I've seen it, but it usually passes within like a minute or so. They'll go around a bend in the road and they'll be out of it. But that looked like it just got worse and worse.
It's wild how it's been like 95 degrees for months here. And then then they get some moisture, and it comes in the form of ice.
Yeah. So that got me thinking about some of the worst conditions I've ridden in here. And I got to say, living in Portland, you do occasionally get caught in storms like that. They usually don't last very long. Usually Yeah, early spring, you'll get caught in some hail and some rain on the way back from a ride because you're always trying to catch the weather window here after the winter. You're trying to really sneak out when you can and get that as much kind of dry conditions as you can get. And sometimes you get caught and pay the price. But as far as like the really, really severe kind of scary where you would abandon a ride type situation, I think of our Icy Nightmare tour that we did the year, was that the year I moved up here?
Yeah, it's all in the name.
Yeah, that's what we called it during the tour.
When I was working on the fishing boat, I would be done in late November, right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where, I didn't have spare time until late November each year. And so we tried to do a trip at the end of my season. And this particular year we picked the Sierra Nevada. We're going to fly into Reno, and we're going to track, there's Donner Pass out there. Of course, famous for cannibalism, for the Donner Party.
So the idea was Thanksgiving, we wanted to be as close to the Donner Pass as possible.
Yes, to be thankful that that's not happening to us.
Right, but it almost did.
Yeah, so we found an actual dirt pass that the actual Donners came over, because there is a paved pass.
Right.
So we found a dirt pass over Donner Pass, and we were going to descend from there back, down into like the Sacramento Valley area.
Yep.
And, it became evident, I want to say like midway through, we knew we were going to have to do some post-holing.
Yes.
I remember I had bought some muck boots and strapped them to the back of my chainstays on my Surly Cross check.
Yep.
And we were going, you had like a Bianchi cross bike, right?
I did. I had a Bianchi cross bike that I had just sort of hose clamped some racks onto. I was going, of course, as minimal as possible. I was trying to be.
We all were. I mean, we all had a pretty minimal setup, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember laughing at your muck boots and being like, he'll never need that. I think I brought gaiters.
Right.
And just standard like trail running shoes and gaiters.
These were like,
thinking it would be enough.
These were early Instagram days too. So #Icy Nightmare. See if that still exists out there. You'll find our old posts from back then.
Yeah, that was very early days.
And it was like, all you needed was one static image.
That's true. Yeah.
Heavily filtered.
Yeah.
#Icy Nightmare. And boy, oh boy, did people love it.
Well, so we did end up having to post hole because we finally we were in the middle of nowhere, and we finally came across somebody descending the trail we were on
like a snowmobile.
On a snowmobile, who warned us heavily.
It's a mission. You could get over this pass, but it's a mission. Yeah,
he was on a snowmobile though. And of course, we chugged right ahead, didn't we?
We kept going.
Yeah, exactly. We kept going. Pretty soon, we were shouldering touring bikes and just post-holing and laughing, and we got really, really deep in before we realized the sun was going down. And at that point, the snow was so deep and we were so far in, we realized pretty quickly that we were in some trouble because it was cold and we were pretty wet and we were exhausted. And I remember you had the muck boots, which probably helped quite a bit. Brendan, who was with us, had he probably had trail running shoes with just holes all over them. I don't think he had gaiters.
His toe was sticking out of the running shoe.
And our friend Adam, British Adam, he can be smart sometimes.
Yeah, he brought a shovel.
He brought a snow shovel, which we thought was hilarious when he purchased it at REI on the way out of town. And he bought a little tiny folding saw, which I thought was insane. But Adam was the fastest out of all of us, so we encouraged him to buy as much.
Anything you want to put on that bike.
Sure, please. Adam, that's a great idea. Yeah, you want a cast iron skillet, like a giant one, Dutch oven, put that on your bike, please.
Yes, please, by all means.
So he brought those two items, and they ended up sort of saving us that night. We had to basically dig through the snow and make kind of a wagon wheel situation, and then we built a big old fire right in the middle of the wagon wheel at the hub, you would say.
Because we all had like 30 or 40 degree sleeping bags.
And really rudimentary bivy sacks.
No shelters.
No shelters. It was like a bivy sack situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, the snow shovel, we dug down, and then we built a big fire. There was no dry wood, so he basically had to cut up a big old dead tree.
He logged the area.
He logged the area thoroughly.
Yeah. With that folding saw.
And I remember he used like one of those Snow Peak little stoves to basically like dry out a section and get it started. Just flamethrowered it.
Old Boy Scout trick, yeah?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it worked.
I slept great that night, actually.
Yeah, I did too. And it wasn't until the next morning when I realized that I only had one. We were all out of food, and I had one yogurt left, and I dropped it in the snow, and it was a white container.
That's right.
And I took Adam's snow shovel and started. I was hungry. I started feverishly digging all around me.
This was the beginning of your dedication to cultures.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I'm a cultured person.
Yes.
Everybody.
And your dedication to yogurt.
I've got to have my cultures.
And we were all kind of just watching as you were maniacally digging through the snow everywhere. Shoveling. Snow was flying over your shoulder. Mm-hmm. You were just in a panic that your one yogurt was gone.
And then I just stopped digging. Yeah. And was frozen in place.
Disaster
struck in my lower back. And I had injured, I was still, only like 30 or something. So, I was like, I was coming off of my youth, and there had been a hurricane the year before, and I had kind of helped some of the other boats kind of pick up their fillet boards and their, lobster traps and things like that. And I had tweaked it doing that the year before. Mm-hmm. And this just brought it back with a vengeance. That's right. I had you guys just kind of like, it was apparent that we needed to get out of there and get me to get me some relief somewhere. Yeah. So you kind of just slung me on the bike, and we started kind of like pushing me downhill through the snow to get back to the main road. And we ended up starting to rain. We rode into Downeyville.
Downeyville was abandoned. By the time we got there, it was dark. Everything was closed. We had been out of food.
Yeah.
We never found the yogurt.
No, that yogurt is still there.
You were basically, you couldn't step off the bike. We had to not only help you on the bike, but also off the bike. Mm-hmm. And your back was completely seized up.
Yeah.
And we were cold. Everything we had was soaking wet. And the whole town was very dark. It's still the only time I've been to Downeyville. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh.
And it was very bleak.
Very bleak, very bleak. And we found a place to stay that night. We weren't going to be camping, that's for sure.
Remember that the guy that owned the bakery in town saw us and felt so bad for us?
Yeah.
That we looked so hammered that he opened his bakery at like 8 p.m. Just to give us some food. Yeah, we just looked and there was nothing open. Right. So we looked so bad. This gentleman took pity on us, gave us, so I think we just all had like muffins for dinner, what was left over from the day before's bakery items. And then we went, and then we just, we had to figure out the rest of the trip on the fly.
Well, in the middle of that night, I think we're sharing a bed, and I get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and I got to pee bad, and I'm kind of like seized up because now my muscles are cold. Yeah. And I try not to wake anyone up. I try to get out of bed, and I get to the bathroom, and I start peeing, and then I get this crazy spasm in the back, and I just hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I go, Patrick!
No, I just woke up to you moaning and just groaning so loudly, begging for help. Yeah. Begging for help in a pool of your own urine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
peeing all over myself.
You were peeing everywhere.
I'm 30 years old here. You know, it's not supposed to happen yet.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you gave me a lift assist. Luckily,
did.
you had been in you had your all of your up on your certifications from the fire department programs.
That's right. I gave you a lift assist, and just like an 85-year-old man,
you said this is called. You came to me calmly and said this is a lift assist. It's generally reserved for the elderly.
That's right. We showered you off, and then we put some Advil down your body, and then we had to find a chiropractor for you. And the next morning, the closest chiropractor. Again, this is a Thanksgiving holiday situation. Nothing is open anywhere. The closest chiropractor was Nevada City.
That's where we went.
And that's where we went at full pace because I felt like that back was in danger of fully seizing at any moment. And then we were going to have to actually call for help.
So, you know, that's how it went. Hopefully none of the riders in the Vuelta went through that today.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
that's right.
So to bring it back. So yeah, that's a ride where we had to bail.
Sometimes it happens.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah. All right. So where are we next? We got to talk a little bit about Made.
Yeah, that's what they probably came to hear about, actually. Yeah.
I did get some what I thought were nice interviews at Made, but I fumbled the microphone a little bit and it wasn't connected to my phone.
I will vouch for you. I saw you over in the corner interviewing people, and you asked in such a gentle, kind way if you could interview really great interviews.
Yeah, but
and they're lost to your brain.
It's lost to my brain. I did get one. One of them did come out because I put the phone like on the table and had a long conversation with Eric, True Marmalade, the traveling Omnium dumpster diver, 35,000 mile a year guy. Real interesting interview with him that we're going to have a dedicated episode to because it was like 50 minutes long.
Seems like such a nice guy.
Really nice guy. But yeah, everything else, not so much. So anyway. Themes? Yep. We got any themes of the show that you want to talk about?
Obviously, 32 was 32. The big thing.
As you'd expect. 32s, I think, creeped into Made 2 years ago. And then last year there were more. And then this year, there's a lot of tires and rims available.
And have you rode one last year, right?
I did. I rode Daniel Yang's 32, and it was sweet.
I got to ride one of the Made show bike 32. It's a flat bar gravel bike from Bitchin' that Billy had.
Oh.
He let me ride that up in the forest for just a moment. I mean, on a really basic stretch. But I was very, you remember me last year, I was very anti, because I have a lot of friends that are smaller than us and I want to support them, but it was pretty interesting riding it just for 10, 15 minutes. It was definitely fast on the straights.
It gets I think a lot of the limelight is on it right now for marginal gains and speed and things like that. But in the custom build world, it's a fun option to have.
Yeah, and we're both we're tall enough that...
Yeah, we're tall enough that it works for us.
The Geo will work, and it's nice to have something for those taller folks, I guess.
Yeah, I am definitely going to be building one up as soon as I figure out how to make a rim brake one. But I'm pretty excited for the future of that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That was definitely a theme of the show, I think. There
was a lot of them.
I think maybe... the percentage-wise, maybe 30% of the bikes there were 32-inch bikes.
Yeah.
And probably about that. And did you have any favorites that you saw? Any favorites overall?
Oh, man. It's tough. I mean, I didn't absorb a lot. I think it was probably the busiest year. I didn't get the full breakdown from Billy yet, but I mean, Saturday was definitely, I did hear that was the most attendance on a Saturday they've ever had. Friday was very steady.
Should note this is the fourth year
of the show. Yeah. And so it's hard to absorb a lot when you walk around because you're getting stopped and you're seeing old friends and you're getting into these great conversations with people you've admired or So, or you're trying to run to find an area to talk a little bit of business or something like that. But, we were kind of right near Brian Hall, who does rare earth cycles. And his bikes are always so interesting looking, and he does such a nice job on all the crazy details. And he did this pretty wild Aero 32-inch
steel bike.
Steel. He formed the tubes into Aero shapes, and it was beautiful. It was pretty cool. I like that one. But it's maybe because I just stared at it so much because it was right across from our booth.
It was a really cool bike.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Aero proponent, but at the same time, I just think
there's tasteful ways of doing it.
There are, and it's just cool to see somebody attempt that. There's a lot of that it made where you're just sort of like, that's not. I wouldn't probably ride that, but I just think it's really rad that somebody had that in their mind and set out to do it and achieved it, like it's pretty cool to see that. Let me think. I mean, Cicli Barco had a really nice, like very modern Thai gravel bike, like just really nice, close details, just really crisp, pretty tasteful build. I mean, that's like a modern, very, very modern bike. I thought that one was kind of cool. I just saw that one. What else did I see that was really cool? They had a nice road bike too, actually, that was pretty rad.
I kind of feel like I don't get to take it's. I wait till they're up on the Radavist.
I do too, and then it's kind of the reward for being at the show all weekend and not getting to take it in. The reward is like when the John's photos come up and they're just stunning.
Because that's really where you could really take in the details. It's almost, especially I think in our position, it would be different if we were attending. But we don't get the time as presenters to really take it all in. But I mean, I can't think of. It's such a cool, like the brands that come to this event. They're all. It's like everything you want to see. Like as a spectator, I can only imagine like how.
There's not a single booth in there that you're not like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah,
there's so much. That's the other thing it's hard to say a favorite because there's just it's overwhelming when you're in there, which is pretty special.
And it's in a old shipbuilding scrap metal facility called Zidell Yard. Has been for 4 years. It's very industrial. It is moving. But this is just to kind of paint a picture. First year, not great lighting.
Yes.
This year, and it's always been kind of hot too. Like we had 100 degrees, I think, like 2 years ago.
They've had some unseasonable weather over that weekend in years past. This weekend was really
nice.
Yeah, pretty typical Portland.
It is like
weather.
an outdoor-indoor space. There's it's open to the elements, so to speak. There's a roof over the top, but there are some booths outside also. And it's a pretty cool, as far as like it's got a real nice, it's definitely a statement, like the place where it's held, like the industrial nature of it all. But the place is filthy. You can't lean over on anything without getting a big black stripe up your back or something, So
it's covered in machine oil.
It's not a Superfund site. I looked that up.
It's
but
a brown
it's
site.
a brownfield.
It's a brownfield.
Yeah.
I like that.
one level lower.
Okay.
So, I think we'll all live a little longer if we don't keep coming back there.
That's true.
It's
That's
nice.
True.
So they are moving it to the Polished Convention Center next year, which is going to make it an entirely different show.
It will, but it also, the benefit of the convention center is that you won't have to deal with the weather element because it's inside.
Yeah.
And that location is just right in the middle of town where you can get to it so easily, and there's so many restaurants close by. Zidell Yards is a neat place, but there's not a ton of restaurants walking distance from the place. You're kind of limited to the carts, which were great that Billy had, but it'll open up the neighborhood as far as like run out and get a good meal in between, whatever. So it'll be easier for people to book places to stay close by. It'll be cool. I think it'll be good. And
So this is a professional show now. This isn't just a startup anymore. Like this I have, I mean, another hot news, I have heard that NABS is coming, that Ton Walker is bringing NABS back to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I won't be there.
No.
Unfortunately.
But, it certainly has taken the place of NABS.
It has.
The North
Billy
American
has worked,
hand-built bike show.
He's worked really hard to continually improve it, I feel like,
I really enjoy it every year. I look forward to it. Troy comes out also with me from Connecticut, and he does a great job working the booth, so Patrick and I can kind of go around and have our meetings and other things like that. But it's a great time to show off your stuff. I think for us in particular, it's really beneficial for us to be there, since another reason why we started this tire company was to have our tires on custom bikes.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to interact with the frame builders and get to know them a little bit more, just kind of, it just strengthens that relationship.
Yeah.
So every year it's good for us to be there. Other brands, they can come and go. It's definitely a great way to face the public and get some press from all of the, everybody there.
Right.
All of the media outlets are present. All the media outlets it's not much. It's really, you think of the Radavist, Bike Packing, Pathless Pedaled, Dustin Klein.
Maybe Billy will invite that Vuelta influencer.
Bike Farmer was there too. Oh
No.
yeah, I bet Billy will invite the Vuelta influencer.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a
great idea. I mean,
Billy,
and
if you're listening, Billy.
Next to the bike racers, I mean, the frame builders.
Oh
and,
yeah,
and us.
They've had less action.
Even less.
This would be a really
That's
great.
what I'm
This would really be really interesting to know who who's having better romantic luck.
Oh, I like that.
Who would?
It's a toss up.
Yeah. So
let's talk about what last year we had a new casing that we kind of talked a lot about and debuted, but this year
the Rozo
casing. But this year,
which is available now at ultradynamico.com.
At our booth, we kind of, I don't know what you would call it. You're the head of marketing, but it was like a soft launch of
launch of a hard product.
That's right. That's right.
Our first hard product.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
yeah.
So Patrick and I have always been big fans of, hard anodized ceramic coated rims of yore, being classics and classic fans.
That's right.
And so, it's really hard to make a rim brake rim like that. Even a disc rim like that nowadays. A lot of them are overly shaped and aero optimized, things like that. So to us,
the ceramic coating was really the main thing that kept the rim brake surface from just turning silver after a week. I
am adverse to having a black rim with a silver brake track. Like I just don't. It just doesn't look right.
Absolutely.
And so
that ceramic coating process is pretty gnarly on the environment, from what I've heard.
Really? Because I've
how brownfields occur.
I always thought it was, Mavic could do it because the French have ceramic coated a lot. You think of La Creuset. I'm thinking of all of the, all of the cookware. I didn't put
that together, but that's true. Yeah.
So I thought maybe only France can do it.
Maybe so.
But who knows? So we were unable to affordably make a ceramic coated rim in 2026. And so to get that black braking surface and have a nice box section rim, we went carbon.
And also, I think the weight of a carbon rim is pretty...
Not that you can't have a really light aluminum rim also. I feel like the carbon rim is, for me, I think carbon, as far as just what to make a rim out of, is a better material. I think it's more durable than aluminum.
It is.
You think of carbon, a carbon wheel is really the ideal use case for the material because it's braced by steel spokes. And especially when you can make it in a shape that isn't rigid, but is actually flexible, because you could do that in the carbon layup. In aluminum, it's all one dimensional.
Right.
And so with carbon, you could kind of tune the rim to flex vertically. And so, especially with a box section where it's not braced for aerodynamics, you're able to make a really comfortable rim that's all flexible, but also very strong. Yeah. And so we did it in a 32 spoke hole and a 28 spoke hole.
Yep.
And we had them on display on our bikes. I thought it's cool that you could use this rim for a rim brake or for disc brake.
Yep.
And so we had your bike, your after hours. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. That bike was a lot of fun. My friend Bradford, who I ride with occasionally here in town, great, very, very strong rider, great frame builder, worked at Seven and Geek House and Speedwagon and Stinner for a minute, and is doing his own brand called After Hours. He knows what I like to ride and knows the areas I like to ride in my derangement and built me a bike for doing just that. And so, yeah, it's just a modern steel gravel bike, disc brake. And so, yeah, built the wheel setup and been running it the last few weeks and had it on display. And we didn't really kind of make any giant signs or tell a lot of people. I was just kind of curious to see if people would pick out the rim and ask about it.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of people asking about it, which was probably the highlight for me. Was a few of the people that I really, really think highly of their opinions and their taste found it and started chatting with me about it, and were extremely excited about it. Yeah. So that, to me, honestly, if you're going to ask me what my favorite frame was or my favorite, I mean, that for me was the highlight.
Moment.
Those moments, it happened 2 or 3 times. I'm not going to name names, but there's a few folks out there that found it, and I really value their opinions, and it was cool to hear them just overwhelmed with excitement for it.
Yeah. Well, for me, what I'm most, I've told you this already, but for me, what I'm most excited about with this rim is to see it on Rivendell's. And so
let's talk about Blue Lug was in town.
Blue Lug was in town,
and they were headed straight down to Walnut Creek immediately after us. Yeah. And we made them swear not to tell Grant. we didn't want his heart to break, but no.
Tani did say he was very confident that he could sell a lot of those rims, and he could see them on Rivendell's. He wants to start specking Blue Lug Rivendell's with the carbon rim.
This is the longest running mechanic at Blue Lug, who is a total Rivendell fanatic,
and he loved the rims.
Yeah.
Yep. So
that's great. So that was fun.
Yeah. So that if you want to be alter than alt, you clip in on your Rivendell, or you run carbon rims.
That's true.
Okay, that's how you do it.
Tell the folks when we're hopeful for spring.
So if you're familiar, folks, all of our tires are named after fine wines. Patrick and I don't drink really. But
just true.
But fine wines are something we can appreciate just by, imagining what it would be like.
Yeah.
And so, we have the Rosé, we have the Mars, which is a Marsala, we have the Cava, and we have the Brut, which is a champagne.
Do you want to do a quick back up just a second and do a quick, why do we name them wines if we don't drink?
Tasting notes.
Absolutely. When we started the brand, so much of the language around tires at the time were these fancy made up engineering terms and just really silly compound names and just a lot of over the top jargon that made no sense.
As it goes, folks, the bike industry.
Yeah.
It's half of it is that.
That's what they like to do. So for us, it was sort of inside joke that, and also we wanted to describe the tires as if they were fine wines. We wanted, because if you read about wine or you read about fancy coffee or foods, the language is more evocative of what you actually experience when you're drinking the nice coffee or when you're having a nice glass of wine. And it felt really wrong to us to really invent a bunch of fancy words that meant absolutely nothing as far as feeling.
Right.
So again, it goes back to the essence of the tire brand was ride feel and looking down and being inspired by what you see in a tread pattern and all of those things that go into cycling for us. And so we just thought it was hilarious to name tread patterns and to talk about all the language on our site is sort of similar talk about it in a way that's designed to make you excited to ride and that you can all relate to it in a little way, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because who doesn't like a fine wine or the idea of something like that? We all want to be finer than we really are.
That's true. That's true.
And so when it came to naming a rim, well, we're like, well, what pairs well with all of these fine wines? Well, of course, a French cheese.
That's right. A hard French cheese, of course. And, another idea with the rim was that we wanted a rim where the internal width, 25 millimeters, just works well with every one of our tires in our catalog.
Yeah.
So you can run a road tire, our 33 millimeter Cava, you can run on this and it'll be a beautiful tire profile. If you run our 53 millimeter wide Brute that we just released, it's a lovely profile as well. So it just made sense to us to name it after something that paired with all of them.
And again, we're not a brand, I can appreciate it, but we're not chasing aerodynamic optimization, so to speak.
Absolutely. This is a hard statement against that.
It's a hard statement against that because it's a box section rim, and folks, the whole wide rim thing is all about aerodynamics also. It has nothing to do with ride feel. And so, you don't have to have, the rim slightly wider than the tire, in order to, and all of you don't have to have a specific rim for all of your different wheel size, tire widths and things like that. The 25 internal is great for everything. So this rim is called it's spelled Comte, but somebody from France told me that I sounded like an idiot. And
I believe it.
Not in those words, but you know how the French feel.
You have a hard time with
anything foreign.
Anything foreign, you really do. Which is hard when you're talking about pro bike racing.
When all I want is Euro, and all I can do is be American. So Comte. Okay. So that's our rim, folks. You probably check it out on a bunch of, I think, the Radavist. My photo spread with the Radavist, John Watson and I really kind of took it up to 11 or 12 this time, I want to say, with my interpretation of a red gravel sports car.
Yeah, you'll have to look past the U modeling.
I think it's not really anyone's looking at the bike.
The subtlety behind the model laying out.
Yeah, we're doing
spread eagle in front of the bike.
I got to write up a little something about the bike, and John's going to do a dedicated post sometime, maybe this week or next. So yeah, you'll see it then on John's. But you can look around, you'll see little sneak peeks. But when are we thinking that's going to come out?
Hoping for this spring. I mean, it'd be great to release it for the spring classic time.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we'll make it there with manufacturing.
Maybe we can get Tom Bonin to try out a set of them on the cobbles.
I love it. Huh? Maybe my favorite all-time bike rider.
Definitely my favorite.
I mean, Vanderpool is
up there, but he's no Tom Bonin.
But he rides all disciplines.
He does, but I'm saying
he is going after the XC World Championship, which
is all that stuff's all nice and cool. But this I think there's something cool about being highly specific, like Bonin.
There's something cool about having a statue of just your legs, your thighs, at the top of a climb in Belgium.
Yes,
I'll say that.
That's something cool about that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, let's see what else we had here. I wanted to talk a little bit about, the real life report back here is, and also tell them why you're mad. I'm going to put them together.
Oh, wow. Why I'm mad?
Yeah, I'm not mad. We're not necessarily mad at this, but let's just say it flat out. Pat lives on top of a hill. It's an 800-foot climb up to his house from downtown Portland.
It's a lovely climb.
It's a climb I've done. Patz has lived here for a long time.
In this house, I've lived, 6 or 7 years in this house.
And I thought it was great. It was like, it's a beautiful spot, no doubt. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's a great spot to stay when I'm in town. But one problem. any ride you go on, you've got to go up that hill. You can't be like, hey, want to meet me for a quick coffee? Okay. You'll be down to wherever you're meeting for that coffee in 10 to 15 minutes, but on that way back up, it's going to be 45.
It's a recovery climb.
So after we were basically just all of our rides back and forth from Maid were, just kind of back and forth. We were doing like 14 miles, but 14,000 feet of elevation gain because of that, because of that climb. Patrick, we're like, show's over, let's relax a little bit. I say, I'm already nervous when Patrick gets excited for a ride because I know what excites him. I've been there. And this is kind of how I am with my group at home, which is funny. They all look, it's kind of a taste of my own medicine in many ways.
Absolutely.
And so, Patrick's like, okay, yeah, we're going to go on a little ride. So we get on our gravel bikes and we head out into Forest Park, both of us on Alley Maxes.
That's true. Yeah.
And Patrick brings me up a number of his classic fire lanes. It's all every trail is a poach, which is
not every
trail, but that's we didn't see a single person out there, which is
the
really
forest cool. That's what I love about it. Is the forest is empty Monday through Friday. Saturday mornings it can be busy, but that's kind of it. And if you go in certain areas of the forest that I frequent, you really rarely see people. Yeah. And you feels like you're way out.
It does.
You're really just above the city. The city is right below you.
Yeah, that's really cool. But you want to get to these places, you got to go uphill.
There's a lot of uphilling, and it's pretty steep.
Troy always tells me, when we're riding at home, and he never complains. I just hear him make noises behind me.
Okay,
and then he'll get up to the top of a climb or midway up, and he'll just shake his head and be like, you know what, heaven is uphill.
I like that. I like that.
That's where you got to do.
Troy was looking great on this trip. I'm telling you, he was right with me on the climb up to the house one day, and you were like 3 or 4 turns below us for most of this back and forth we did.
I'm trying to preserve. I wasn't eating much because I knew my photo shoot was coming up, and I wanted to be cut.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, we do this ride yesterday after I get my calories back.
Right.
And, it felt like a lot of climbing, I'll be honest with you. And we had a good time. It was beautiful out there.
We had some good descending. A lot of single track.
In my head here, I'm just like, this is... Patrick, you wanted to do like double that first off, and you probably do. I see your Strava. You do rides like this, several times a week.
Yeah.
And every ride that Patrick posts on Strava, there's more. There's more elevation than there is mileage, which is
I do like to climb.
The indication of a very hard ride. And so I have this theory that Patrick is, he's had a hard time keeping friends because, as we know, anyone here on Alt Bike Now, we make friends on the bike. It's the only way we socialize. Am I right? And so Patrick needs riding friends, but every riding friend he brings them on a ride that he took me on the other day.
Is this an intervention?
This is an intervention. Yes. And so, I ride. I've been riding my whole life, and I love riding off-road. I like riding steep stuff. I'm capable. I can do all this. You've seen me do it all. You know what I can do. But if you're just taking somebody that you're just trying to get to know up this stuff, and this is not
first date, right?
This is not first date. This is not where you take someone on a first date.
This is how you lose friends.
This is how you lose friends immediately. This is how you convince people that you are absolutely unfriendable.
Yeah, that's true. I see where you're coming from.
And so I if anything, I'm urging you to ease people in a little bit more.
Okay. I can do that.
Like it is cool. It is cool that where all this stuff is and you know how to loop it all together.
Yeah, that was a great ride.
It's a huge flex.
Let me now. Can I talk about my version of what happened yesterday on the ride?
Okay.
I always struggle because it always changes what you like. I try to do a ride that I think you're going to like, and then, I'll take you to the most beautiful spot scenery wise, and you'll just say, oh, I'm mentally over this ride right when we get to the best spot. And we've been on great roads the whole time.
Well,
right?
yeah, okay.
And then I'm like, well, he's only been riding dirt, so I'll just take him on a whole dirt ride. We do a whole dirt ride, and then, you're like, God, I just want to ride the road. I'm like, what's going on? I just can't win. Well, yesterday after the ride, you said, during the ride, you just kept saying to me, when are we going to pop out and hit a cafe?
Yeah.
I just want a cafe.
Yeah.
I just want some fancy coffee. I just want a fancy snack.
I live in the country. I don't get to see the city.
Okay.
I have access to this stuff.
And there's also, obviously, it's always a fitness assessment that's going on when we're together. Okay. And I know you were weak because you hadn't been eating a lot. So I wanted to put you a little bit to the test to see what we're working with these days. I don't get to ride with you but once or twice a year.
Yeah, true.
And I need I can see the numbers, but again, your ride times are so long that even the numbers, even if they look impressive as far as your elevation, I mean, if you're just crawling up, smoking a J, crawling up a climb, I mean, that's cool. That's great, but it's not impressive to me that you have, when I look at those numbers at the end, you know what I mean? There's a difference. So it was a little bit of an assessment. And am I a jock? Yeah, I'm a little bit of a jock. I think that's important to say.
It's important to say.
A little bit of a jock. It's okay. I'm an open-minded jock, right? I'm open-minded. I want everybody to have a great time when they're riding, except for you. So I had I thought it was a really nice loop. I strung together some nice sections. I took you up one of my favorite fire lanes that I don't take many people up.
Fire lane 7.
Yeah, and it's,
I'll remember that one.
You're not supposed to ride it, but nobody even
remember that one.
It's so steep, no one really walks it.
When they say don't ride these things, they're talking about riding down, and you don't want to ride down that.
You don't.
No, thank you.
I don't think I've ever ridden down that.
No, thank you.
But, yeah, I don't know. I thought you'd be into the ride.
I did enjoy it. Well, as it turns out, that ride was 24 miles, 3,100 feet of elevation gain.
Okay.
A nice recovery.
That was a great. I was buzzing after the ride. I felt great. We went to a nice dinner with our friend Kyle.
What's the pizza place called?
Lovely's 50/50,
which is generally the highest ranked. I mean, in previous times before New Haven pizza took over the world.
Oh boy,
Lovely.
Here we go.
I'm saying Lovely's was. That style of pizza was popular, which is it's not. I wouldn't say it's Neapolitan. It's Neapolitan adjacent. It's
like
thicker.
A Portland Neapolitan.
Portland's a Neapolitan. Good stuff. Too much crust.
The salad was great. The food was good. The company was amazing.
Kyle von Hausendorf.
I hadn't been to Lovely's in probably 7 or 8 years because it was featured in top 20 New York Times, yada 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 at some point, and now. It's almost, they don't do reservations, so it's almost impossible to get a table unless you're there the moment they open and you get sat that first seating, which is how we lucked into a seat yesterday.
Yeah, on a Monday.
On a Monday
at 5:30.
Yeah. So I don't do that type of thing, even though Portland's kind of known for that stuff. I don't, if I see lines, I usually don't. I turn right around.
I mean, it's a good, high quality ingredients, obviously. I think that's
very fresh, very tasty,
very good.
But, lovely staff.
We had the margarita, which I don't know what they call that, which was my favorite. And then we had a few like specialty pizzas, which are never quite as good as a margarita or plain cheese. Let's face it, folks.
True.
So, I would rate it. I think I told someone at the show that it's an 8. Because I was remembering back to when my tastes were different, pre-pandemic, I grew up eating New Haven pizza, obviously, so I never thought it was anything special until the rest of the world said it was something special. Then I'm like, oh yeah, it is good. But you just grow up in a place and you're like, this is pizza. I didn't think it was anything special. But, it's so my tastes have changed. When I come to Portland now, I like to go to Demos because they do a New Haven style.
You like to go to a place and have the thing that reminds you of the place you just left.
I like to know everyone's interpretation. It's nice to be able to compare in that way, And I've had a very good pizza at Demos before. I've had bad pizzas there too, though.
Demos is great.
Yeah.
I like Demos. I'm just, you got to mix it up. You can't do Demos every time.
No.
We do different. We do different.
Yeah, that's part of having this company. We want to go out to dinner.
We do. And we do.
And we do. So yeah, it was a nice way to earn that pizza, of course. But you know, I also had this revelation that my entire the new page that I've turned over in my cycling playbook being more optimized. Yeah. I thought it was more attributed to my age and just wanting to make things easier on my body, as far as just lighter bikes, you know, a more optimized climbing position. And
what's funny about that, though, is your position is back to being a lot racier of a position.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
For a while, you were like, my back will never be able to bend that way. Mm-hmm. But now you're telling me that you're willing to sacrifice your back in this position.
I'll sacrifice anything
in order for that weight and that aerodynamic advantage.
The aero advantage, you know, yeah. I mean, I'm looking for, it's mainly weight and climbing position. Like I want to be in a position where I could put the most power into the pedal.
But you don't climb anymore, is what you just admitted. You just admitted that climbing scares you.
Well, yeah, it does scare me.
And
that's why I'm optimizing.
You were terrified of me yesterday.
Well, when I was living on the shoreline in Connecticut, you know,
you are a shoreliner through and through.
It's flat on the shoreline.
I know, I'm aware.
And you can get away with, you know, the climbs are a lot shorter. You can get away with riding whatever bike you want. It's just like, you know, I'm chilling. It's fine, you know. Mm-hmm. But once in 2020, when I moved across the river to East Haddam, Connecticut, it's only 15 miles away from the shoreline, but it is. I mean, it's not as I don't get the numbers that you get, but I oftentimes just get a 1-to-1, and I got to climb up a hill to get anywhere. And I was just like, I can't do this on my Atlantis. Like this is taking twice as long.
Now, if you put carbon rims on the Atlantis,
now I'm like, if I only had carbon rims, which I will very shortly. So, you know, I'm just trying, and I was like, you know, I'm just trying to make this easier for myself so that I can make my life easier, so I don't have to worry about all of these climbs so much as I age.
I mean, I've been telling you that you've been doing that for years.
I didn't realize it.
I've been telling you that that's what you've been. Mm-hmm. That's what you.
So the road bikes and everything, it's just an easier way to get around my area. That's what I've come to the conclusion
getting slower.
Exactly.
All of the advantages you can.
Precisely. I'm not as fast as I once was.
Yeah.
You know.
You've always been an off the couch athlete. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I'm never not in shape.
You're always in great shape.
Yeah.
And you have a natural ability on the bike. You're a very talented rider, especially downhill.
I don't think I've been out of shape. You know, a little brag here. I don't think I've ever been out of shape.
Right, but you're definitely not in prime shape.
But prime
anymore.
shape.
It's been something happened to you a few years ago.
It's more mentally. It's mental.
Yeah, mental. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, we've all heard you. You know, those of us that have traveled with you and done some big riding trips the last few years, we've heard you mumbling in your sleep at night, just worried about the next day's climbing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where you are. And
because I know you guys aren't going to stop. I need to stop and snack.
Yeah, we don't do that.
And take in the scenery. And I can make it sound really romantic here and stuff, but I know it's just slides right off your back.
Don't stop till the top is what I teach my 11-year-olds.